Hey everybody, welcome to Value Week. Start with a definition of value, the gradations of light and dark on lines, shapes, forms, and space. Tools needed this week, little different from the last few weeks. Number 2 pencil, of course. Soft-leaded ebony pencil for darker values we're adding here. A pencil sharpener, an eraser, and a ruler will come in handy for laying out the grayscale array, as you'll see later. No colored pencils in this demonstration. Want to focus primarily on the values in the grayscale. Criterion template this week is quite familiar, should be by now. Has the same 5 elements we've been including all along. You have your title that you're going to have at the top, 5 letters for the word value, V-A-L-U-E, and you want to show off value in your title. And then your tile design, where you're going to create an image that helps to define value and emphasizes value. Also, your value type vocabulary words on the side of your tile design or adjacent to. And then the other elements down at the bottom, same with the definition of the word value from your handout, and also a pop culture quote down at the bottom or on the side, wherever you want to fit it in there. But the one extra element we have here, you could consider it part of your tile design, it's going to help you with it, is a 7-step grayscale. And it may be a different number for Ms. Jones or Mr. Beal's class, but my class will do a 7-step grayscale from the lightest light to the darkest dark that the number 2 pencil and an ebony pencil will make for us. Okay, laying out the title line. You're dealing with 5 letters, V-A-L-U-E. You might use the tripod grip to lay out the letters, to block them out, and then switch over to your sketching grip so you have as much lead in contact with the paper as possible. Number 2 pencils, what you should start with to lay out the lighter values to midtones, and then switch to the ebony pencil as you build up those midtones so you can push those values even darker. The grayscale. We've been doing 5 elements in your sketchbook projects for the elements of art, but with value, adding one other element, that is the grayscale. And I place it right below my tile design. It's going to be a guide for my tile design so I can make sure I'm hitting a wide range of value in my drawing later. So it's going to be a 7-step value scale. Mine is 7 inches wide by 1.5 inches tall. Each step will be 1 inch wide. I suggest that you start by working on your 7th step, the one on the far right, the darkest value first. You want nice even steps as you build your grayscale. So the darkest one first, and then go to the middle step, the 4th step, and do your midtone next. That'll make it much easier to get good, accurate, even steps between the 1st step and the 4th step and the 4th step and the 7th step. Also have your eraser on hand. Ruler comes in handy for laying this out, and the ebony pencil, of course, is critical for making those nice dark values at steps 6 and 7. All right, time to do the tile design drawing. So on my sketchbook, you can see I've laid a second sheet of paper over my value scale temporarily. That's simply to protect it and to keep my hands from smearing all that graphite I laid down on the value scale across the drawing surface and the rest of my sketchbook page. So I'll move it later to check the value, my range of value in my drawing. So I'm setting up the space. I'm going to be doing a real formal, simple composition. The idea isn't to have a whole bunch of different shapes in there. The idea is to focus on getting a full range of value in your drawing. So I'm keeping it simple. It'll be like looking into a window at a geometric form being lit from above. So I'm drawing, so I drew a line right across the middle horizontally. That's going to be the transition from, say, the floor to the wall, or a table to the wall, and drawing a spherical circular shape right around the midpoint. And then with my number 2 pencil, I will be using a sketching grip, not a tripod grip, because I want to use very light pressure to start laying value down into my drawing. Both above that line that I drew to set off the top of the sphere, there'll be darker values that I'll be building up here. It'll be one of the darker value areas, kind of like the values you find in the core shadow or cast shadows. It'll be a similar, like a step 5, 6, or 7 from my value scale in the background, and it'll modulate. Doing a drawing like this is kind of like sculpting with your pencil. You're taking a flat surface and actually moving graphite around to create a three-dimensional form. So a light source is critical when you're doing a drawing that includes values. So you can see I drew a little line drawing of a lamp up at the top right-hand side of my drawing to illuminate it from the upper right down to the lower left. So the highlight will be in the upper right of the sphere. See, I'm shading right around that area, but eventually that will become the highlight, the brightest value, like that's step 1 in my value scale. And then because of the positioning of the light, it'll cast a shadow from the bottom of my sphere on the left side over to the left-hand side of that imaginary table that I'm creating. So I'm starting to lay value into my spherical shape. You can see I'm following the contours of the circular shape. It's this globular shape. It's like a ball, so I want to move my pencil, my sketching motion in a similar circular motion. It also hits the tooth from a variety of angles, so I can more easily build my midtones and darker values. Because this is going to be one of the darker areas of my drawing, this core shadow area below the highlight to the lower left. And I start by building up light values and into midtones, and then slowly it gets darker and darker. So just to reiterate, this is a very simple composition. Emphasis is on creating a full range of value. Not interested so much in that there's a wide variety of objects that you're trying to shade here, as much as looking for you to include a full range of value and create a setting. Think of the light source. It's very important to a value drawing to have a highlight, cast shadow, and core shadow. I quickly wanted to talk about the vocab list in my sketchbook page. It's an anatomical list of this element called value. Of course, the light source would be that artificial light I created outside the frame. But I have different kinds of shadows, the core shadow and cast shadow, the core shadow being the darkest value in my spherical shape on the lower left-hand area. And then the cast shadow is very dark value that's on the left-hand side of the table projecting off the sphere. The highlights, one of the focal points of the drawing, is the lightest part in the upper right-hand portion of the sphere. And then the midtones are utilized throughout the drawing, making those transitions between the darker values and the highlights. And then the reflected light bounces back and hits the bottom of the sphere, so you can, it sets it off so you can see the sphere where it connects to the table.